Hello, and welcome to today's session. Today, I'm going to be investigating, is LinkedIn advertising really worth it? What can we do outside of the platform to make the most out of our advertising? And really question where I can place my B2B ads beyond just LinkedIn. But before we get started, just a bit about me. I'm the Senior Paid Media Specialist at StrategiQ. In my wealth of expertise, I've worked across a number of different sectors, most notoriously across luxury travel, media distribution, and utilities. And if planning a talk for you today hasn't made me busy enough, I'm also in the midst of wedding planning, and I get married in just 52 days. So you can imagine how hectic my life has been in the last few weeks. So let's get started. LinkedIn. It's safe to say it solidified itself as the B2B channel of choice for marketers. But why is this? Well, 800 million users use it worldwide. It's home to over 57 million companies. And of the overall user base, 65 million are considered to be key decision makers, which makes up for around 8% of the overall platform. And 55% of those say that they regularly use LinkedIn to vet organisations that they're speaking to or looking to reach out to. So I think that's safe to say why we've come to this perception that LinkedIn is a channel of choice. But let's take a step back. Who actually are these people? What do they do? What motivates them? What are their personality traits? And what do they do outside of the regular 9 to 5? Well, in 2020, a study suggested that over half of B2B buyers were millennials, a generation that relies heavily on the internet to provide information, gain knowledge, and build networks with other communities. And whilst LinkedIn is popular with this generation, it's not as popular as it could be, with this generation saying that they prefer to use Facebook and Instagram to interact with businesses. So if this is the case, why do we just restrict ourselves with LinkedIn? Us as advertisers probably got into a real rut over the last few years where a B2B client comes to us and we think, yes, LinkedIn is the channel of choice, but we forget about all these other great biddable platforms that we have. If we're a B2C, we wouldn't take this approach and we'd really question ourselves if we did. So why do we do it with B2B markets? Secondly to this, LinkedIn is one of the most expensive paid social platforms out there, with the average cost per click coming in at over £3.90, much higher than what I see across Facebook and Instagram, for example. And in some cases, I've seen this rise to over £50 a click, which just seems ludicrous. And let's face it, who actually likes using the platform? It's clunky, has limited targeting layering techniques, and can be really restrictive from a remarketing purpose, especially for smaller organisations. So I want to pose this opinion to you. It's time that we get out of this mindset of thinking business, and it's time to start thinking human. How can we see these users as human beings, not as businesses? And how can we reach them outside of the normal 9 to 5 life? Let's face it, most of us don't just silo ourselves to LinkedIn, and we've probably all been served a B2B ad in our lifetime, but we'll use other channels. So again, it's starting to think broader. How can we reach them on Facebook, for example, and Twitter? How can we take ourselves out of this LinkedIn mindset to really start thinking human? So let's have a look at some channels. So the first one on the agenda is Facebook, which is the second biggest B2B platform out there, with 88% of LinkedIn users also having an active Facebook account. Now you're probably thinking, well, how do I target? It's not as sophisticated as LinkedIn, but delve deeper. We can start to target people based on their different working habits, such as employers, industries, and job titles. We can also start to target based on specific industries that they're interested in, such as architecture, agriculture, and advertising. We can also target based on specific interests and have a look at what they're actively looking at and what content they're looking at. For example, are they interested in web development or advertising? And more cleverly, we can start to target based on their behaviour on the platform. Let's face it, a lot of B2B organisations out there, and those that are in high positions within that organisation, will probably have some level of access to their business Facebook page. Why not target Facebook page admins within a specific industry? It's likely that you will be reaching those specific key decision makers. And we've also got custom audiences, which I know have been affected by the iOS 14 updates lately. But if you've got primary data, start using it. And the more segmented, the better. Where you can upload email addresses and contact details of those that you're already speaking to or already customers, put it back into the system to find new ones. We took this approach with a yoga education client of ours who was looking to reach key decision makers within the education industry. We took those that they were already speaking to, uploaded it in the platform to build a lookalike, and then serve new customers. Rather than going in with a sales-led message, which we knew wouldn't stick within this point, what we did is we wanted to raise brand awareness and help to offer something users would want in their day-to-day life, in the form of a teacher wellness guide. This provided tips and tricks for that user base to create calm within their working environments and help with classroom management. Within a week, we saw 293 leads at a cost per lead of $2.67. Now, I'd really struggled to get a click for that on LinkedIn, let alone a lead. What this enabled the client to do was not only follow up with email communications of this user base, we could feed this information back into the platform to then follow them down further the conversion path. So that's Facebook. Let's have a look at Twitter, which I feel is often neglected within social communities, but can be really powerful in terms of its targeting techniques. For example, we can target lookalikes of specific pages on the platform. So why not upload all of your competitor pages to then start targeting lookalikes of their follower base? Chances are that user base will be your prime target audience. We've also got keyword targeting, where we can upload specific keywords and hashtags that we know our user base commonly talk about or utilize within the platform. I often say to people, use Twitter as a way of gaining fuel for your remarketing on other platforms. Because it's so cheap and so economical, it's a great way of generating qualified traffic to your site. And once you've got them on your site, you can then start to remarket on other platforms. So again, see it as just one of the cogs within your B2B marketing strategy. Next up is YouTube. And with video being one of the most powerful forms of content, this hasn't gone unnoticed in the B2B community, with 53% of B2B decision makers saying that video was one of the most powerful forms of content when they're in that initial research stage, making YouTube an extremely powerful channel to start advertising on. We can start to target based on specific industries and sectors that user base may be interested in. For example, are they interested in corporate event planning or looking for advertising and marketing services? What are they thinking about in that prime moment? What are they researching in that given moment? Start targeting based within that. We can also upload a set of keywords. So for example, we can take our paid search keywords and upload that into the platform. So when a user types in, for example, SEO agency, we can show an ad showing our products and services. We've also got topics. So if we know that our user base has shown that they are interested in email marketing, for example, we can then hit them with ads throughout multiple different touch points on the platform to then again showcase our services. And like Twitter, we can also get clever with how we use competitors. So why not start to target those that are looking at videos within specific YouTube channels? So for example, if you know that you are looking to reach those that are interested in project management, why not upload really big project management channels to then target ads before the user even gets to their video? Chances are, again, if they're in that mindset and looking for that specific piece of software and you are able to offer that software to that user, they are likely to want to be able to click and find out more. So video brings me on to my next channel, which is TikTok. Now, you're probably thinking that I'm straying way well from LinkedIn here, and you're probably thinking, well, TikTok's a B2C channel, why should I consider it for B2B? Well, I strongly believe that B2Bs will see an increased usage with TikTok over the next few years, and rightly so, with 46% of LinkedIn users also having a TikTok account. And whilst the paid tactics are still in its infancy, this will grow over the coming years. What we can do is we can start to target people based on interest, for example, so real estate, haulage, recruitment. We can also start to target again, like we do on Twitter, with specific hashtags. If we know that community interacts with specific topics and conversations, we then can serve ads within that feed. And if you're thinking, well, I haven't seen a B2B out there do it, there are brands doing it. Lily is a financial platform that was looking to reach freelancers to grow its online user base. With the help of influencers to provide educational and funny videos, they were able to produce a 739% increase in conversion rate and a 75% decrease in cost per lead. Again, it's a great platform out there that's used well for B2Cs, but I think this just shows that B2B markets are growing on the platform and has lots of opportunities for others to do so. But I would caveat TikTok heavily by saying it relies a lot on having a strong organic following first. It's not a paid social channel that you can just jump straight into. Really focus on your organic efforts, providing authentic and humorous content to the user base. And why not have a look at how you can use your day-to-day office environment? How can you show a behind the scenes? A lot of users within the B2B audiences want to make sure that they're communicating and doing business with those that they can build connections with, and TikTok is a great way of doing that. My final paid social channel is Pinterest, and again, you're probably thinking that I'm crazy for suggesting this, but 50% of LinkedIn users also have a Pinterest account, and it's relied heavily within some certain sectors, the education sector being one of these. So, why not target people based on specific interests that they're looking within the platform or pins that they regularly interact with? For example, those that are looking for teacher resources or classroom management. And because the platform's seen as a blend of paid search and paid social, why not take your paid search keyword list and upload it? Then, when a user is looking for classroom printables, your ad will be served within that feed. My final biddable media, and probably the most powerful out of all of those that we've looked at today, is Google Ads. Although it's not a paid social channel, this channel cannot be neglected within our B2B marketing strategies. B2B buyers conduct approximately 12 online searches before making a purchase, which again just showcase how long this buying cycle can be, and it's really important that we're there at each touch point. But we can make our keyword lists and our landing pages fueled better by other clever techniques within the platform. For example, we can apply audience observations, whereby we can upweight bids for specific industries that we know our user base are interacting with. For example, post-secondary education or primary and secondary schools. We can also downweight bids for those that we know are less likely to be our key target audiences. And this becomes even more powerful when we take our paid search marketing to Bing, where we can integrate LinkedIn insights to then upweight bids based on job titles, sectors, and industries. Again, really making sure that your ad spend goes where you need it to. So, with all that in mind, let's take a step back to my first question. Is LinkedIn advertising really worth it? And you'll probably be surprised to know, well, yes, it is. As long as you don't jump straight in thinking that as soon as you turn LinkedIn ads on, the leads will follow. It's important that LinkedIn is just one of the many cogs within your B2B marketing strategy. Start to use it as a lead nurture tactic, and although you may get direct leads from it, be aware and be forthcoming when it comes to building out your channel mix, utilizing all the different platforms that I've discussed. And if you're thinking, what content shall I use? Start to think how you can offer something to the user base that they're more likely to interact with and want. Going in with sales-led messaging to start off with will not stick, and because of that longer buying cycle, you'll need to do more to warm them up. So why not offer them a free white paper download in exchange for their email address? Again, not only has the user base got something that is really tangible and can help support their day-to-day life, you've then got email data which you can then feed back into the platforms and follow up with email channels. Or why not use advertising as an open forum and encourage users to engage with the comments and create conversation? Doing this will actually make you more favourable in the auction, as LinkedIn can see that users are interacting with the content more and more likely you are to win within the auction. So if I've got one final takeaway for you today, it is to stop thinking business and start thinking human. Thank you.